Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for our double Game Week 35 preview show. I'm Chris, and with me is the other half of the FPL Cougars team, Kieran. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. Are you ready to talk double Game Week 35?
Yes, let's get it. Let's go.
Cool. Okay, cool. So we're going to be focusing on that mainly tonight. We're going to look at which players are worth considering from the teams that have got doubles. But that said, we're not going to be overlooking single Game Week players, and we're going to touch on the best picks at the end of the show tonight. We're also going to discuss captaincy, because it's quite a hot topic this week with so many good options. We're going to talk about the clean sheet potential, and also we're going to go over our transfer plans, because Kieran and I both played bench boost this week after wildcarding last week, and we want to go over a few changes which I think we might make to our lineup. So we're going to start though by talking about the Champions League match last night between Man City and Spurs, which was amazing. We watched it together, and I've probably still not calmed down. I was pretty excited last night. I was supporting Spurs, and things got a little bit out of hand with VAR, didn't they? But what a game, Kieran. Best game you've seen for the last couple of years?
I mean, people are talking about possibly the best game ever, maybe. I mean, it's hard to deny it, really. I mean, it reminds you of why you love football, right? It's just 5 goals in 20 minutes, drama everywhere, and VAR controversies, and I'm all for VAR. Makes the game fun, and not fun, sorry, fair. I think they got the right decisions last night, so I think the right team went through. Shame for City, because shame for my UCL score as well in fantasy, because Sterling was robbed of that hat trick. But I thought it was a great game all round. Both teams just slogging at it, going attacking football, and what wasn't to like? Fantastic.
It's funny because I hadn't thought about that, and you just complaining about Sterling not getting a hat-trick for UCL. Well, I don't play the UCL game, so I've got no interest in points. I just enjoy each game, but I just realised you come out of it a bit annoyed that Sterling didn't got that hat-trick.
Well, he got 2, it's fine. I own Son as well, so he got 2 as well. So, it was points all around for me last night.
You're doing all right in UCL, aren't you?
Yeah, it's about 230 or something in the world.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
That's good. What's the prize for that? Must be something juicy.
I honestly haven't checked. I don't think I ever check scores or prizes, guys. I just don't expect to ever win it. So,
It's probably a trip to the Champions League final next season. But
that would be lovely.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? So, despite being eliminated, though, City actually won the game last night, didn't they? And for most part of it, they played quite well. And really, it was that Llorente goal, like you say, that changed it for them in the end, and obviously the offside decision. How does it... I don't know, how does it affect your thinking, really? Because the next game we've got coming up in the Premier League is between the same two sides at the same stadium, and the stakes are just as high on Saturday lunchtime.
I mean, I expect City to beat them, just because obviously Spurs had Sissoko go off as well. I mean, their injuries are piling up. They've got practically no one left. I mean, they don't have any chance to rest Son this week for sure. No. At least I don't think so. Obviously, Llorente came on and he looked tired, pretty much straight away. So I think City, they're not going to want Spurs to, dump them out of the running for obviously the Champions League and now for the Premier League as well. Like two games in a row, that would be, crushing for City, wouldn't it? If they lose their 2 big glory chances. Out for revenge, I would guess, for City. And I guess Aguero and Sterling start.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
That would be my my first thought. There was pictures of trainings today, and Sterling, Aguero, Laporte, KDB, all the main sort of people weren't in training or weren't pictured at all. So I guess it's just a day off.
Yeah,
I hope.
That makes sense to me, because I guess when the games are coming this thick and fast, they don't need to train so much because they've got matches every couple of days. Yeah. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I think Sterling's been just incredible now. So looking at his performances so far this season for City, that's 26 goals in 20 games in all competitions at home, which is more than any other teammate now. So he surpassed Aguero. And we'll get onto the captaincy chat a little bit later, but he's just looking like prime for these 2 fixtures, despite him being Tottenham and Man United. If he can produce the same sort of returns he did in that Spurs game, United are way worse defensively. I think there could be a big score for Raheem this weekend.
I mean, in that game, he was very clinical. He didn't have that many other chances. The 2 that he got, he took.
That's true. Yeah.
So, but he can't stop scoring. So, and that's a great thing. Obviously, he didn't do great in the last double game week. He blanked twice, didn't he? Yeah. But this is more pressure.
definitely.
Bigger opponents, that often leads to more goals, maybe. Well, I'm not sure, but
I think more intensity for sure. Because one of the things that we'll sort of talk about more a bit later when it comes to Spurs is I think it's a little bit different for them because that game at home against Brighton almost seems like a given to me, given Brighton's form or lack of it, and Spurs' relentless need for the Champions League spots. Whereas City really have to play at their best to beat both United and Spurs, which makes me think, yeah, they will win those games better than Spurs' performances in those two. Do you see what I'm trying to say with that?
Yeah,
like they've got to step up more.
You can't see Pep trusting Sane, or probably Sane will probably start one, but you can't see him trusting like Mahrez,
No way.
Jesus in these games, can you? Really?
No.
I mean, if Aguero's fit, he usually plays, and he'll play 70 minutes. You expect in both, probably.
Yeah.
Assuming he doesn't get injured in the first, and then you expect Sterling to play 90 in both, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, assuming he's the main man, he's the one scoring the goals at the moment.
Yeah.
So I think Pep needs him.
I think Man City's Premier League form has been brilliant recently as well. I think they've won their last 9 matches. That's incredible. It's only that one slip up away against Tottenham last week, which maybe save for an Aguero penalty they wouldn't have lost. Who are you thinking as sort of I mean, you and I have both got Triple City here. But is there a case we made that De Bruyne is potentially a better option over these next 2 games than Aguero? How do you see sort of people should be stacking out their teams with City assets for these 2 games?
Oh, I mean, KDB's just come back from injury, right? Obviously, he's on fire. He got triple assist in the Champions League last night. But does that mean he's going to play both of them? I'm not so sure. I think he might play one and maybe get rested for another.
Right.
But he could easily play both. I think the safe option is Aguero because he'll probably play 70 in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, not sure. I would like KDB, but it's tough to get him in, obviously.
His form's
what do you think about him?
I really like him now. Like he just looked back to last season's best last night. 3 assists in the game, and I think was that 5 assists now and 1 goal in his last 3 games. So that includes that Cardiff game, and it was a bit of a mystery that he was left out against Spurs last week. I think that's been levelled at Pep today. I mean, it's obviously easier in hindsight to say De Bruyne's just coming to the side. Why would you rest him in that game rather than Palace? But yeah, his form's looking incredible, and I think if I had another shot at the wild card, it would be even closer. If I had another shot at the wild card now for this weekend, it'd be a much closer sort of thing between Aguero and KDB for that Man City 3rd spot, if you like. Because I think Laporte, despite his 2 mistakes last night for the first 2 Spurs goals, I'd see clean sheets between now and the end of the season after this double game week for him.
I can see a couple clean sheets in this double game week as well.
Okay.
Well, maybe not a couple, but one at least. I think. I think they could get one against Spurs, possibly.
Yeah.
And I don't see why not against United either. Obviously, we don't know what United will turn up, but there's a clean sheet there to be had.
Well, looking at the prospects in that second game, United have lost in their last 14, and they've actually won 2 of the last 3 derbies at Old Trafford, which I was surprised about. But I mean, United's record this season has been pretty poor, so it's difficult to pull on that sort of past season form, if you like. They've had 1 clean sheet in their last 5 at home, and that was that funny game against Liverpool where it was 0-0, where they had all those injuries and it was really disrupted.
Yeah.
So they've conceded 6 and basically in 4, if you like, in the other games against lesser teams. So I can't see them keeping a clean sheet against City. So returns in both of those games for City attackers, I'm sure. Spurs' record against City is generally really poor as well. I think they've conceded. City have scored more than 2.5 goals in the last 9 home games against Tottenham in all comps, which is crazy high numbers. So I think there's goals in these 2 fixtures for City.
And speaking of Aguero, this is a tweet earlier from FPL Versus on Twitter, and it's Aguero's record in Spurs and Man United games. Right, he's played 22.
Yep.
He's had 18 goals.
Wow.
2 assists. So that's pretty good, right? You'd expect him to return with he's in decent-ish form. You know, he's obviously scored last night.
An assist.
An assist, yes, and KDB. You know, feed him in goals, and it's between Aguero and Sterling now. I think, despite the fixtures, I think they need to win, and
definitely.
I think they can score more than 1 in both. So,
well, it's probably only just over a month ago that they had those back-to-back home games against Arsenal and Chelsea, and Aguero got a hat-trick in both, didn't he? And Sterling got double-digit figures in maybe one or even both of those games. So
yeah.
I think the better the opposition, the more chance they have of getting good points.
Like last night against Spurs, they scored 4.
They did, yeah.
That's probably because they had to, knowing that they had to get those away home goals because obviously the Spurs got the away ones. But same situation for the Prem. Really, they have to win.
Yeah. So what do you think of Spurs' double then? Should we move on to them and talk about who we think they're? I mean, Llorente was he's been a bit of a surprise pick along with Lucas Moura, thanks to the Huddersfield game. Look, those two look like they're going to get more game time between now and the end of the season.
Yeah.
Would they be in your thoughts if you hadn't played the wild card last week? Llorente at a tasty price, 5-1.
I think for people who've got Dini, I think Llorente's a shout. Yeah. Why not? But you've probably already got like Lloris or someone else or Trippier, so that's an issue. But yeah, I think Moura, if you're not on wildcard, sorry, if you didn't wildcard last week and you didn't get him in, then I think he's worth looking at for sure. I think he will probably play most of the minutes from now on.
I think so too.
So yeah, and he looked dangerous. He didn't do much last night, but other than that, sorry, Carol.
No, go.
Other than that, I just think he's dangerous and worth a shout, really.
Yeah. I think he just was working hard for them last night rather than creating anything in the final third. And he came off early, I think, just because he ran himself into the ground. So I'd expect him to play again at the weekend. Maybe not the full 90, but then definitely feature again heavily against Brighton. And
I hope Spurs play the lineup that they started with, because Llorente brought it on when he came on, just slowed down everything, didn't he?
He did,
Son up the top worked really well on the counter. So I mean, he was kind of fortunate with the 2 goals because like Laporte passed to him in the first one, and then the other one was I think it was like a rebound or something like that. So yeah, fortunate for some for those 2 goals. I can't see him getting that lucky again, really. Hopefully he gets 1 goal, but Eriksen obviously got an assist as well last night, so he's still turning over nicely.
He's looking really good. Really good.
Hopefully they can both do it in the City game. I don't mind a Laporte wipeout if Son and Eriksen return, obviously.
Definitely, yeah. Well, Eriksen's got 5 goal involvements in the last 4 games now, so he's probably in the best form of the season. In terms of him playing games, we were talking about how reliable he is. I actually looked back to see the last time he didn't play 90 minutes. And it was game week 19, so he's played like nearly 15, 16 game weeks where he's just putting in 90-minute performances. He played 90 minutes in the week in the Champions League. He played 90 minutes last night. I mean, I don't know if he needs rest. Maybe he just keeps going and going and going, but while he's in this sort of form, I can't see Pochettino dropping him when they need these.
I don't think he can afford to.
No, I can see maybe him bringing him off early, but the amount of injuries, I think he's got to start most games.
I think he starts the City game and then maybe he rests a few players in the Brighton game.
Yeah. So talking about the Brighton game, then Brighton, we'll get onto them later, and their woeful performance in 34 and how crap all their defence has been and ruined everyone's weeks last week. Really. They've basically been absolute dog's mess. I was going to say something worse. Dog's mess on the road recently. They've conceded over 2.5 goals in the last 6 games. So I think they're due to get heavily beaten on Wednesday, as well as not scoring. How do you see sort of like the best route into their defence? I mean, Trippier, I was thinking about before my wild card from an attacking point of view, but I thought he looked really shaky last night. Do you think Kyle Walker-Peters might come in again? Nice tasty differential there, quite cheap. You got a bonus point in the Huddersfield game too.
I think he'll probably come in for 1 game, but so yeah, if you don't have him, and you probably would have got Lloris or Trippier or someone like that. If you're not on wildcard last week, then yeah, Kyle Walker-Peters seems okay. But I think the best option is probably Lloris for defence. If you can get the funds. He's just nailed on to play, isn't he? And he likes a penalty save, so that's a chance of points even if you get a clean sheet wipeout. Doesn't get too many saves, but and he's liable to the odd mistake. But I don't know. Whenever I've owned him or owned a Spurs defense this year, they've always seemed to return clean sheets. So I'm fairly confident, especially for the Brighton game. Yeah. But that feels like a sort of banana skin waiting to happen, because Brighton really need to turn it on now, and that could be a game where Spurs decide to rest players thinking, this is going to be easy, and something goes awry. I can see that possibly happening.
I hope not. We should also just say that Son is banned, isn't he, for picking up that yellow card for the tackle on De Bruyne last night. So he's going to miss the first leg. I had a look. The first leg is actually between game week 36 and game week 37, I believe. So I would say he's fairly nailed on to play the next two, maybe the next three.
Mm-hmm.
The game, I think it's the game before they're either away against at home against West Ham and away against Bournemouth. But I'd have to look into that. But I think he's a pretty safe pick, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. I just hope he starts in that false 9 area because. Yeah. But, the Sissoko injury affects them even more. Dyer's out. Like, Ali's come back, which is useful. But, Wanyama looked super tired, way off the pace. So
I loved his boot into touch, didn't you?
That was fun.
That was good. Ericsson should have done that a few minutes later instead of trying to pass it back. If he
just knew Aguero was offside, didn't he?
No, he just knew it. He played it into Bernardo Silva on purpose to get that time-wasting free kick. Love it.
Perfect.
Should we talk about Arsenal now? Because they've got Palace at home and Wolves away in the double. And I don't know about you, man, but I feel like we barely spent any time this season talking about Arsenal assets, yet they're like 3rd or 4th in the league.
Yeah.
Again tonight, they're playing Napoli right now while we're recording. Laka and Aubameyang have both started. Laka was benched on Monday against Watford.
Laka scored.
Laka scored tonight.
Yeah.
But, I mean, get to the stage where we're nearly at the end of the season, and I feel like I've not had any Arsenal coverage just because they've been more of a rotation nightmare for people than City have, haven't they?
Yeah, big time. You buy Lacazette, people were buying him last week because Aubameyang was out for ages.
Yeah. And
then he gets benched, and people have or bought Kohler on the wild card as well, or had him before, gets benched. It's just like, what? Maybe that was rest because they thought they could beat Watford easily. I don't know. But Laka should be fine. I imagine he might come off early this week or early tonight. Sorry. Guess we'll see. But it's hard to pick them just due to that rotation. Aguero seems safer when you can have 70 minutes from him, as long as he's fit, and he'll get 70 minutes. So tough, really. And then their midfield are just, you have no idea. And their defence are just so leaky. So it's hard to pick any of them, really.
Yeah, first clean sheet away against Watford, wasn't it, on Monday all season, and they barely managed that. Watford had a bit of an onslaught towards the end.
Yeah.
Even with 10 men, so they could have really put them to bed. They've got obviously Palace at home and Wolves away. How do you see those fixtures on paper? I mean, Palace's form away from home has been pretty decent, really. They've only lost 1 in 5, 3 wins. Obviously, that Zaha-Milivojevic combination has been pretty lethal recently, and we know that Wolves' home form is pretty spectacular. So can you actually see them getting a ton of returns in those 2 games?
Well, in my notes, I've gotten written down that Arsenal will win both games.
Have you really? Okay.
Yeah. Just a feeling. I feel... Yeah, I just think they'll win. And I think they might keep a clean sheet away from home against Wolves. There's no real stats behind it or anything.
Just a gut feeling.
Just a gut feeling, yeah. I'll probably be way wrong, I'm afraid.
Well, I think I can see them getting that home win against Palace, but I don't think it's going to be a clear and easy win. But they struggled, didn't they, at home earlier in the season against Wolves? And Wolves' home form is really strong. I think, what's it now? 5 wins in 6 at home?
It's just hard to see which Wolves are going to turn up. Like, have they just lost the plot now and they're on the beach?
I think they'll be really up for it. Evening kickoff game against a big team. You know what happened the last time United came there? 2 evenings on a Saturday and whatever it was in a double game week. The FA Cup game and the league game. I can see Wolves doing a number on Arsenal in that game. Granted, Arsenal do have a lot more to play for, but
I hope so regarding Jiminez because I own him, but just not so sure.
Yeah, I think so. Talking about assets for their team, I think Monreal seems like the safest pick in defence for me. Someone who's got attacking threat. He's 5'4", so he's only a tiny bit cheaper than Trent. So from long-term planning, I'd rather have Trent. But if you're looking at double game week points, you're bench boosting, or you just want to get an Arsenal defender, and I think Monreal would be my pick. In terms of the midfield, you're right, but I kind of fancy like a differential pick as Aaron Ramsey. I feel like he's leading up to a big end of a season with Arsenal, and his minutes have been pretty flaky over maybe like 5
I feel like he's due a rest. Like he's played too many in a row. Like Emery's just gonna sit him down for no reason.
It's funny. He doesn't actually play 90 minutes, so I think he gets his
Yeah.
rest most of the time. He's only played 90 minutes twice in the last 15 game weeks, which is pretty mad. But he's got 2 goals in the last 5. He's a sort of player I could see popping up with a goal or 2 against Palace, but yeah, one to keep an eye on.
Yep.
Any more on Arsenal? Because I haven't really got a lot to say about them, just because I don't have any in my team. I don't really fancy them.
I mean, just between Abba and Laka, I think you either pick none of them or you go for both of them if you want to go for it. But I think you'll probably get points from both of them.
Yeah.
If or one of them will get points in both these games, but they might not play both.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably play 100 minutes, something, 130 minutes, something like that, over both.
It surprised me actually that Aubameyang's goal against Watford was his 18th of the season. So he's putting the numbers in, and he's got 4 goal involvements in his last 6. It could have been 5 if he hadn't missed that penalty against Spurs. So
I think he's only 2 points behind Aguero in
the overall standings?
Yeah, 2 points. So he's 2 points behind the leading forward.
That's crazy. I mean, Aguero's probably played. I don't know. I'd be interested to know the minutes actually on what the difference is, but strange. It's one of that set and forget sort of thing. Just be prepared to accept that he's going to be benched every so often, but when he plays, he's going to get points. A bit like
yes, exactly. Yeah. That's why it could be worth it this week if you don't. If you want to go Aguero-less or you've already got him in, then you'll probably get points.
Now the biggest team with the roughest fixtures, I think this double game week. United, would you say? Everton away, City at home, and they need to win. Well, they need to win both really to keep this top 4. The tiny flickery flame. They need to win to make it bigger.
It feels extinguished to me.
It does, yeah.
Crashing out of the Champions League with a pretty abject performance. Just no one really performed well at all. No. They had a good 10 minutes at the start where Rashford had a chance and they pressed really well, but Rashford not connected at all, and ruined chances like that. And I think there will be a come down and a hangover, and I can't see United doing anything against Everton. I think Everton will win this 10-0, honestly.
I'm really down on United at the moment. Like, you and I are both fans. They had that bit of sort of the manager bounce of Ollie, but I think it's 5 losses in the last 9 now. They've looked really uninspiring. Pogba's sort of gone back to not as bad as he was bad as he was under Mourinho, but he's definitely regressed in terms of his attacking output. Rashford's form's tailed off a cliff. 2 goals in the last 8 league appearances, and the Pogba's goals at the weekend against West Ham, well timed for, I guess, the double game week. But in terms of how he actually played in open play in that game, he had 3 touches in the box, and maybe it was 1 or 2 of those. Well, I think 2 of those were the penalty or penalties. I just really down on United assets at the moment. I can't trust the defence either. 1 clean sheet in 7, and that was that game against Liverpool. It's just, there's nothing to like about it at the moment. I'm really down on United for this double game week. Really down on it.
Yeah, I think if they lose to Everton, I think top 4 is definitely gone.
I agree.
I can see that happening, and then if that happens, then yes, Derby form goes out the window for the Derby, but I think I can see City rolling them over.
City are just too good, aren't they, to keep them out? And United, I think if United lose against Everton, which I think is likely, they kept 3 clean sheet in the last 3 home games. That was Chelsea and Liverpool in there. So God knows how United are going to score. They seem to be bottling matches against mid-table teams, which not mid-table, Wolves. I'm thinking about in the FA Cup and in the league recently, bottling those away games. It's just poor at the moment, really poor.
Lukaku versus his old club might be a thing, but Lukaku's terrible, so I don't even think Lukaku will start. I think Rashford will. I think he seems to be the main man. But there's just so many mediocre players in the United squad that just don't do anything.
And the defence has got, after a sort of a mini revival, the defence has got worse again. And the more Phil Jones and Smalling and Young have played, maybe in the last month, it's just been dreadful. I think if Everton and the mental state has gone as well. Like, you can see we're mentally distressed by it. Listen how down we are the last 2 minutes. But I think if Everton or City score first in either of those games, it could be 2-3 goals in each one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, so I think if you've got Pogba, keep him for penalties.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't advise bringing anyone in. I think Pogba's probably worth a shout, but other than that, no.
I hope they prove us wrong, but
yeah, that'll be nice.
I'm not confident. So should we jump on to Wolves then? Because they're the only team in this double with 2 home fixtures, I believe. I've got that right. I've got 2 of their players. I got Jota and Jiminez. I think we all know about Jiminez by now, don't we? He's the 3rd highest owned player in the game. 5 attacking returns in the last 5, 12 points in the last double game week, considering he was even on the bench for the first one. Do you back him to repeat that? Would you be happy with a captaincy score of 12 in these 2 games? Arguably better fixtures as well with that Brighton one.
Yeah, maybe. I think a lot of people are looking at him for captain, aren't they?
Yep.
I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not sure what Wolves team are going to turn up. So that for me makes me scared to put any sort of armbands on him. I think City are in better form and just not better fixtures, but we know what they can do.
They've got more motivation, haven't they, essentially?
Yeah, for sure. I think Jiminez versus Saints got 90 minutes, 2 shots, 1 off target, 1 off target, 1 on target, and 0 chances created. So it's not particularly prolific. And so I don't know does that mean Beach? I'm not sure.
I hope not.
I mean, Jota the same. 87 minutes, 2 shots, 1 off target, 1 blocked, 0 chances created.
I've got to say about Jota, I was having a look at his minutes before I got him, and the reason I got him in is because despite him not completing 90 minutes in, I think it's twice in the last 12, he's completed 90 minutes. Yeah, his points have been really good, so he's averaged 5.5 points in his last 12 games, which if he can repeat in the double, brilliant. I think I'd take 10 points, which is probably 2 assists and 2 appearance points for making more than 60. So I'm expecting him to not play 90 in either, but I would expect some attacking returns in that Brighton game and potentially in that Arsenal game.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. That's why I've got Jiminez. I hope he does well. I'm going to back him for sure. There's the fixture to do it. Arsenal obviously pretty shaky away from home, so yeah, he rarely blanks, doesn't he? Jiminez in a row, so.
No, let's see what happens. But I'm feeling good about Wolves this one, but I'm not feeling good about Wolves' defence. No. Really, I having a little look at that. Basically, poor defence generally has put me off them after Doherty's emergence earlier in the season. I think we talked about it on Monday, didn't we? That Bolly has now got more goals than him this season, and he's 4-7. Doherty's up 5-3, but Doherty's last 6 scores are 1-1, 1-1, 2-0. So that's pretty poor, isn't it? He obviously got subbed off before the 60th minute in that Southampton game. It doesn't look like he's got any sort of defensive or attacking form at the moment. I think they've sort of changed their formation around a little bit as well, and it doesn't seem to be suiting him. So, yeah, I'm all off Wolves' defensive cover.
I think anyone who owns Bennett, I think he'll come back in because that size guy was pretty poor in the last, pretty poor versus Saints and pretty poor versus in the FA Cup against Watford. So, yeah, I think Bennett will definitely come back. Maybe that makes them better. It could do.
Yeah, it could do.
So, yeah, they've been playing with him most of the season, haven't they? So, might be a bit of familiarity come back.
I need to look at the numbers because they've had 4, I checked it out, 4 home clean sheets in the last 12 home games. So, yeah, essentially, 1 in 3 and over the double. Maybe it's the 2 of the non-3. I
can see them getting 1 against Brighton, but at the same time, Brighton have to win. Like, they're fighting for their lives now, but maybe their fight is already gone. Who knows?
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. Poor old Brighton. But maybe not, because they screwed everyone. Talk about Saints, another South Coast team, because they got 2 fixtures, 2 away ones. Newcastle, Watford. I think they're safe now, aren't they, Saints?
I don't know. You think they probably are, but they probably need at least an extra draw or a win, I'd say, to be guaranteed.
I think they're an interesting one to look at because their fixtures in the double are pretty decent, and they've also got really good fixtures now until the end of the season. Because after the double, they got Bournemouth at home, West Ham away. We know West Ham away have been shocking. Bournemouth have been on the beach for that 5-0, and the last day of the season at home in front of their home fans, they got Huddersfield. So I think their fixtures now between the end of the season are great, and there's a little bit of an sort of interest opening up in the striker department. Obviously, we've got the Deeney's out. People looking to replace him with a double game week player, maybe a striker. There's 2 options available at Southampton. You're shaking your head already. Danny Ings and Shane Long. You not fancy either of those?
Ings is fine, but Shane Long, don't go there. Come on.
He's 2 goals and 2, Kieran.
But
4.6 hero.
He's terrible.
He's a 4.6. No, okay.
I mean,
not fancy him.
Maybe if you're going to bring him in
Just
bench,
as a bench
like,
boost. You bench him after this, maybe.
But bench boost for him, it doesn't feel good to me at all. You could bring him in after this week and just bench him for 4.6, but I don't know. I just don't like him at all. He's barely ever scores, and he's had 2 and 2, but I think they've been lucky. Fortunately, he's just happened to be in the right place.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I can't see him going. He'll go back to his nothingness.
So you don't fancy Ings either?
Just the injury worries. I do kind of like him. I think he's creative in the last game, wasn't he? He was good, but he's likely to not even get 60 minutes in some of the games. So he'll probably start one, maybe bench for another. Mm-hmm. So it's tough to invest in him, I'd say.
So we've both got defensive coverage, haven't we? I've got Valerie, you've got Bednarak. We've also got our midfield option. I've got Huibug, and you've got Romeo. You were talking earlier, I think on the podcast earlier this week, you were talking about getting rid of Romeo. Is that still in your mind ahead of this game week? How do you see him?
It would be, if I was going to do it, I'd get in Højbjerg, but that just seems like, what's the point of taking a hit? Because is Højbjerg going to score more than -4 in 2 games? Maybe not, to be honest. So I hope Romeo plays both. I hope he comes on, maybe gets a goal. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. So yeah, I'll probably just leave him, to be honest, and just deal with it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Redmond obviously scored, 40% of the whole of his season goals last game week by getting that brace. Do you see him sort of continuing that, or is it just a flash in the pan 1 game week? You think he's going to regress again?
It's possible, isn't it? He could continue on, but he could go back to being terrible again. Well, not terrible, but just not providing any points wise. I can see him doing really well in that final game of the season against Huddersfield. So maybe it's worth investing for the long term, for the rest of the season in him. Yeah. Instead of De La Feu, maybe switch sideways to that. But not sure.
I always like a game week 38 just because it seems absolute bedlam, doesn't it? All the games on one day, there always seems to be tons of goals. Yeah. All sort of form goes out the window and it's just chaos. So I think you got to look at those teams at home with good fixtures, and Southampton are definitely one. So investing in someone like Shane Long could be a good move. Shaking your head.
Well, on the last day of the season, you're not going to play him, are you?
Yeah, triple captain. You've still got your chip.
Yeah, just bench Salah for triple captain.
Triple captain Shane Long. Yeah, okay, cool. We'll make a note of that. Watford. They play Huddersfield away and they play Southampton at home, who we've just talked about. You and I have got a vested interest because we have the double Ds, don't we? Deeney and Delafeu. Obviously, Deeney's way out of there now. He's gone. He's got the red arrow. A red arrow? Well, he's got everyone a red arrow. He's got a red mark. He's not back till game week 38, is he? I think he's got a big ban.
3 weeks. Three bans.
3 weeks. So, options for Deeney replacements. Let's talk about them. Who do you see as a good replacement for Deeney? Long term and short? Or you not really thought about it if I put you on the spot here?
I mean, short term's possibly Gray if you want to risk it, I'd say, because when Deeney's been out before, the preferred option has been Success and Delafeu up front, both of them together. So I don't know if that's a trend that's going to happen again. It might have just been because I think Gray had maybe a niggle back then as well.
Right.
So Gray's been preferred lately, so I would imagine it would be Gray and Delafeu, assuming Delafeu's fit. But I think that's short term because it feels like a transfer out waiting to happen, doesn't it, really? Because he'll probably be benched in quite a few games as soon as Deeney's back. So do you want to bring in someone like that? I think Deeney's only back
to 38, so I think he's not back for a while.
Right. Then, yeah, he could be worth a shout.
I think his minutes have been really patchy. Like, I think it was a big boost that he started in the cup final. Sorry, I keep calling it the cup final. The cup semi-final.
Felt like a final.
It did feel like a final, didn't it? I think it was a big boost that he started in the Cup semi-final for his chances. His minutes are really patchy, but he's got 3 returns in his last 5. That's 1 goal and 2 assists. Admittedly, some of those were, I think a couple of those were in that game against Fulham at home. But if he's going to whip some bottom of the table teams, Huddersfield certainly are that, and that away game could be good for Gray, but I think he's probably not top of my list for a replacement, to be honest. I've been looking at all sorts of players. I think if you're looking to stay under or 6 or under, I think Rondon, Perez. I think Newcastle have got some decent fixtures from now until the end of the season.
You kind of have to look at single week players, I think.
Yeah, I think
around
so.
His price.
Yeah. Because Southampton, like you say, you've sort of dismissed them. Watford is only going to be Gray or Success. I don't think you want to touch Success for a barge pole. And I think Rondon and Perez aren't bad options. They've been getting lots of chances recently, and their points have been good. And like I say, Newcastle's got some good fixtures coming up. They've got Southampton at home, Brighton away, and Fulham away. The only tricky game they've got at home is that Liverpool game on game week 37. But I've liked the Newcastle strikers all season. I just never really had an opportunity to get them, so they're ones to consider for sure.
What about like a little bit more if you got the money? Wilson, possible beach team, not sure.
Yeah, that's the thing about Bournemouth, isn't it? We don't know how they're going to play. On paper it looks great because they've got a home game against Fulham this game week, but longer term, how do we really? Yeah, how do I analyse Bournemouth? I think they've got a derby, South Coast derby against Southampton the following game week, and I think those games are always tight. They've got a home game against Tottenham. I'd expect them to lose. And on the last day of the season, they got a tricky away game against Crystal Palace, who can shut out any team at home and make it difficult. So,
but at the same time, Wilson could score against any of them.
Well, I also think, I agree, he can. But I think Wilson's also got a bit of motivation that he'll probably want to get back into the England side for the UEFA Nations League this summer.
And Fraser is on for the assist boot, or I don't know what you call the golden assist boot.
Golden assist boot, I like it.
Yeah.
We should make it.
So yeah, he's on 12. He's tired of Hazard, I think it is.
Oh baby.
So yeah, he's on for wanting to win that. I'm sure. For Bournemouth, for top assister of the season would be a really good achievement, wouldn't it?
Would be.
So yeah, he's going to assist Wilson, right? They love that. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think quite on the beach yet. Because they got, Fraser at least has something to play for.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. I kind of like your thinking there. But we'll see. I'm still not sure because I think Wilson and Kane are both good options. But those, even though the fixtures sound quite good, Fulham, Southampton, and Palace, I think those away games I can't trust their non-beach mentality. I quite like Chris Wood from Burnley, but he's been playing really well recently. But their fixtures are really turgid. They got City and Arsenal all at Turf Moor. They've got Chelsea and Everton away. So I think it's a shame that they've got bad fixtures at this stage of the season because he's been playing well.
You never like a Burnley striker, though.
I don't either. No,
don't advise it.
No, I don't know. So no. I probably think a Newcastle striker or a Bournemouth striker is probably your best get out if you're not going double game weekers for Deeney.
So you're not going long. You're thinking wrong.
No, I don't know. I haven't actually decided yet. I've had since Monday, and I still don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I'm going to think tonight and tomorrow. If anyone else, I'm sure. Yeah, go. Sorry.
Downgrading for you doesn't really get you much elsewhere, does it?
No, it doesn't. No. Yeah. Well, actually, it can. But Jota, Ericsson, and Deeney could enable me to get Salah. Success
but that wouldn't be
else,
this
but it really wrecks the team. It doesn't look like a good balance for Salah. I don't think he's performing for that price at the moment. I don't know. All right, we got a bit sidetracked, didn't we, on Watford Deeney replacements? So I think it's important to talk about.
So what about DUFFY? Do you think he'll start? I mean, Gracia said today that. Hold on, let me see it here. What's he said? He said he's trained today, Thursday, and he will see how he is on Friday.
Oh,
so
God.
that's the same with Pereira. So he trained today as well, full training, and he will see how he is tomorrow, Friday.
Well, I guess it's good that he trained fully. That's a big positive.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, obviously. Yeah. But he said that Jerry DUFFY trained all week last week and he didn't play him. So
seems like
I guess there was a setback, as I said last time. But yeah, my thought is probably to keep him, but probably not captain. I would love to captain him because anyone that plays Huddersfield, I think, is a great captain choice. And he is the only team that plays Huddersfield this week, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I think Watford have probably got the two best fixtures of the double, I'd say. Huddersfield away, Southampton home. I think so.
Yeah, maybe them or Wolves.
Yeah, all Wolves. But Arsenal, obviously, you don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely potential for big points from Watford, and Foster as a goalkeeper, I think is great on the bench boost for me. I'm very happy to own him. And then people are looking for possible Watford defenders that are nailed on. Obviously Foster, I think Cathcart is probably nailed on. Capacilio, Mariappa, not sure. I think they'll rotate.
Yeah.
Kiko Femenia, maybe he will probably play one.
I think Sorry,
I think Yanmack might play one. Holobas maybe play both.
I think he's injured, isn't he?
Oh, is he injured?
I read today he's still got a hamstring issue. Yeah.
Right. And then on the other side, there's that Messina guy who might play both or one. It's hard to say. So it's probably Cathcart or Foster for their defence.
Yeah. I think if you can't stretch to Cathcart, Kiko Femenia is probably like the best of the rest at 4.2 million. Plays wing back, sometimes plays right back. Got a goal in him. I think he's not a bad option. But Huddersfield are so bad, they're going to win that one, aren't they?
Yeah, I've had bad pass for Femenia, so...
You're a bit burnt.
But yeah, I've got Foster on, so I'm happy. I think if there's not clean sheets, I think there's at least saves in there for him. So fingers crossed. Hopefully he doesn't do a howler like against Arsenal.
No. I'm almost a bit reluctant to talk about Brighton because you and I both got burned by them, but we probably should. They've got the hardest fixtures of all teams in the double, and you and I have both got two of their players. They've got Wolves away and Tottenham away. I mean, you've been saying throughout the night when we talked about the other teams that they have got to win. That is their motivation, but they are so bad. No goals in 4. They can't keep clean sheets. They can't keep goals out. They conceded multiple goals. Guess how many... I'll tell you what, this will be a fun game. Guess how many of their last 29 away games they've won.
Am I going to say none?
Well, it's 3 more than none, Kieran. They've only won 3 of the last 29. How poor is that?
It's bad.
That's why they're down at the bottom of the league. But I'm not expecting much from Brighton this game. Would you advise people to get rid of Brighton assets they brought in last week, or?
It would be typical FPL trolliness that everyone gets rid of them, thinking they're all dead to them. That they get a clean sheet or Duffy gets a goal or something like that in one of these games.
Can you imagine 88th minute the Spurs game on Wednesday? It's like 4-0 to Spurs, and it says Duffy goal, dunk assist.
I can see it 100% happening. I'm probably going to get rid of them. One of them. I wouldn't advise getting rid of all of them. I don't think that's smart, and I don't think you should take hits to get rid of them. So yeah, I'd say use one free transfer, get rid of one if you want. If you can get someone else really good in for a hit, then sure, do it. But yeah, I think keeping one of them is fine on a bench boost. You never know what could happen.
I've got written down here at the top of my notes on Brighton, it says, ugh. So that's how uninspired I am about this game week.
I mean, 7 conceded and 0 scored against Cardiff and Bournemouth. It's not great going into a double against Wolves and Tottenham away.
Bloody poor.
But anything can happen in the Premier League.
It can. And the Champions League. Right. Those are all the teams with the doubles. So double game week tick. You and I have both got 15. No, we haven't. I've got 13. So I've got 2 Liverpool players, and you've got 13 as well because you still got Vardy. We'll talk about our transfers at the end, actually. Let's talk about the best of the rest. Do you know what that means?
Chelsea, maybe?
Well, yeah. Chelsea and Liverpool probably. It's basically anyone else we think are doing good this week who haven't got a double. So you think Chelsea?
Chelsea at home to Burnley for sure. Hazard looks decent form. I think Chelsea are spanking Slavia Prague tonight. Let me see.
I think we're 4-1 up.
Oh, actually, maybe not. It's just gone 4-3.
Woo!
So, yeah, all right. Slavia Prague are getting back into it. But yeah, they still scored 4 goals. Yeah. Pedro with 2 goals and assist, I think, but will probably be rotated in the Prem. But yeah, Hazard's been on great form, hasn't he? Yes, unlucky to not score 2 against Liverpool. So, yeah, I think it's worth if you have him, or if you had him, or wasn't on wildcard or whatever, that I think he's definitely worth keeping for this one.
Yeah.
And possible captain shout if you don't want to go for a double player. I can see a mauling here maybe.
Yeah.
But Burnley have played well against Chelsea in the past actually, so they have come up with some results. So maybe Chris Wood goal here might be.
Yeah.
I could see that happening actually.
Yeah, so could I. Yeah, I haven't got the Chelsea defence written down, but I've definitely got the attack. I can see Hazard's form has been. I mean, he looked so good, didn't he, in that Liverpool game? He was unlucky not to score. He led the line from the front. He hates playing that position apparently, but he looked good. Scored that double against West Ham the week before. I reckon he's going to go out with a bang at the end of this season. I actually really want to get him back in, but working out how to do it after probably try and aim to do it after the United game in game week 36. So aim to have Hazard in for the last two.
He's in the shop window for that Real transfer.
He is, isn't he? He is.
I read today that Real are looking to spend 85 million on him, which seems quite cheap for Hazard.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see.
You could have like 3/4 of Pogba for that. Okay.
Well, it said that they want Pogba as well, so
do they?
yeah, they can take him if he wants to go.
Okay. Best of the rest. I mean, we can't go without talking about Liverpool. Just rolling on, aren't they? So Mane and Salah both picked up goal and an assist, wasn't it, last night against Porto?
Yep.
Mane obviously got the yellow card as well, which you care about quite a lot. You had him in your team, didn't you?
Yeah, but it didn't matter.
Didn't matter. I just think it's a big and it's another big pressure game. That Cardiff game. It's 4:00. It's the televised game on Sunday. The Cardiff fans are going to be going absolutely loopy for it because, like Brighton, they've got to win to stay up now. Their defence has got better actually recently. They conceded less than 2.5 goals in the last 6 games. They're in great form. Obviously, Liverpool goes without saying they're in brilliant form. I think the pressure this weekend is going to be on Liverpool regardless of the City result. If City drop any sort of points, that Cardiff game is another must-win, isn't it? Just to eke out that gap ahead of the United game. It's a huge game for Liverpool. I know it's against Cardiff and they're third from bottom, but huge game. Do you see them,
they have to win.
Yeah, winning comfortably, or you give me a tight one?
Maybe not comfortably, but I think they'll win it. I mean, I'm looking to bring Trent in as well, so I hope they don't concede, but I think they could here because Cardiff are just going to go for it, right? So I think it's possible they can concede, but Robertson and Trent key to Liverpool's attack often, so yeah, I can see attacking returns here as well. They'll probably break on Cardiff and beat them like 4-2 or 4-1 or something.
I think you're right. I think it's gonna be a scrappy game. I think it'd be like a 2 or a 3-1. I can see Cardiff scoring from a set piece or something similar. Maybe your boy Sean Morrison.
It'd be like a 1-1 at half time or something, and then like Cardiff will go for it, and then Liverpool just hit them on the break at 80 odd minutes and score 3 or something. Yeah,
I can see that. Other players, single game week heroes. I've got written down. I fancy Tielemans this week, Kieran. I fancy Tielemans against West Ham. Leicester had a bit of an off performance, didn't they, against Newcastle last Friday night.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, West Ham are pretty atrocious. Conceded 2 in the last 5 games, or at least 2 in the last 5 games, and it was actually Tielemans' first blank last time out in 7. So I fancy him to get back on it, and I reckon he could be a tasty differential this week if you're looking for someone a little bit different than a Watford midfielder or a Wolves midfielder like you and I have got.
Yeah, don't see why not. He's a decent option. That's why I've got Vardy still for this fixture.
Yeah.
I think Vardy will blank and then he'll probably do well. I think they'll want to bounce back, and this feels like it's a good fixture for him and Tielemans on the break. Most people might have been burnt by Vardy last week, and they might have sold him on for a double game week player, and he could be a decently high scorer this week.
It happened to me, didn't it, in game week 32 when I didn't have my free hit and I kept Vardy for a game and he popped up and got a nice goal. So yeah, happy with that. Anyone else you fancy as a single game weeker?
Obviously, I talked about Everton. I think they'll do well against United. So Sigurdsson is still worth a shout as he's been playing well, and Digne as well possibly.
Yeah,
I think it's harder to pick him, Young. But yeah, that's for sure. That's great for him. But yeah, Siggy, Digne, Calvert-Lewin, even Richarlison. I think any of Everton for a punt this week is worth a go. But yeah, other than that, I think it's maybe a couple Newcastle players, Rondon, like you said,
Yeah.
against Southampton. Yeah,
I think Bournemouth and the Fulham game wraps up sort of like single game week picks of the week.
Maybe Zaha as well.
Maybe
Just
Zaha.
one last shout.
Yeah.
Zaha.
I think Bournemouth is going to be fascinating to watch because they've been so poor before that Brighton game and they absolutely battered them. Fulham have been equally poor recently, conceded 2 goals at least in their last 7 away games. Are Bournemouth going to be up for it? Are they going to want to put 3 or 4 past them? They can. But will they? And I think it sort of sums up what Bournemouth are like recently.
It's really hard to tell, isn't it?
It is hard to tell, yeah. All right, should we talk captaincy?
Yeah, but I'm not sure who to pick.
Oh my gosh.
Pretty clueless this week. Well, maybe not clueless, but I think it's going to be on Sterling or Aguero. One of those.
Shall I give you some stats to back up one of those two?
Go.
Okay, Aguero. 12 shots, 5 shots on target in the last 4. 5 chances created. It's pretty big numbers. Best of any striker in the league, obviously. Goal and assist last night. He loves, like you said, loves playing United, doesn't he, Kieran? All those stats you provided earlier about how many goals he's got. I think he's going to start both games.
Yep.
If he got the haul he got in last night's game, goal and assist, probably a couple of maybe not a bonus actually because there was loads of goal scorers. But yeah, if he got that in the first game heading to Old Trafford, you'd be pretty confident of a good double game week captaincy score, I would have thought.
But would you be like, are you confident that he's going to outscore Sterling? Because Sterling scored two in that game.
No. I don't think so. I think Sterling and Aguero are the top 2. So yeah, those are my Aguero captaincy stats. But Sterling, like we were saying earlier, 26 goals now in all competitions at the Etihad this season. So that's more than any other teammate. He is now sort of like the undroppable man, isn't he?
Feels like it.
He won the game for them at Selhurst Park. Those 2 goals to put them 2-0 up, really. I mean, I know Jesus finished it, but it really was Sterling's work. Aguero looked off that game. Sterling stepped up again last night. Could have scored a hat-trick to win it, bar a really marginal offside call. So I think he's undroppable at the moment. He's scoring goals for fun. What game was it he didn't score in? Was it the Fulham and Cardiff double game week where he just got like 3 points? Yeah. So I think apart from those 2 games recently, he's just been on fire. I don't know. He needs to step up for these big games of City, and I think he will. He
often steps up in the bigger games as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Whereas Aguero last night looked... He got a goal assist, but he wasn't that involved, really. No. Just like in the Palace game, he didn't do much at all.
No.
So I think, Sterling on form. Mm-hmm. Hopefully undroppable, like you say. I can't see him missing either one of those, really.
They need to win, don't they? And
they do.
He's got the most goals for them this season. It'd be like United dropping Pogba, Chelsea dropping Hazard, Arsenal Arsenal bad example. Tottenham dropping Kane. Do you know what I mean? It's dropping your star player or resting a star player.
But does
they can't afford to.
Does penalty kicks on Aguero weigh with you at all?
I suppose Ashley Young is playing, isn't he? No. I don't think it weighs enough on it. I think Sterling might be winning those penalties. Sterling scoring some goals. Yeah, I think it's really close between Sterling and Aguero for me. But as of this evening, I'm leaning towards Sterling.
Yeah,
the thing is, not bad shouts for Son and Eriksen. Like we're saying, Eriksen's form has been really great. I think it's only Salah who's taken more shots than him in the last 6 game weeks of midfielders, which really surprised me. So Salah's taken 24 shots, most of midfielders. Eriksen taken 19. But I think like we were saying right back at the tippy top of the show, it just comes down to that motivation. Like, they do have to win that game against Brighton, but surely they won't be going 100 miles an hour to win because they're playing Brighton. It's not like they're playing Manchester United away. They've got Brighton at home. I don't know. It feels like a game where Poch could rotate in that game. Maybe not Eriksen, but the players around him.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it feels too risky to captain them. I was just checking on my phone, so I've currently got Sterling on captain and Vice on Jiminez. So probably the same you'll do, because Jiminez I think will start both. So just in case Sterling doesn't start any for whatever reason, Jiminez I think is the Vice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I think there are good shouts for single game week players this week with Salah, Mane, and Hazard. I think any one of those could easily outscore any of our double players, just considering who they're playing. But I think we've got to back our doubles now.
Yeah, it feels like it could be a game for Salah to get a hat-trick in, where barely no one owns him. But...
He's dropped down the rankings, hasn't he? Sorry,
Yes.
ownership rankings.
Yes.
Cool. All right, clean sheets. Should we just do that?
Yeah. I've got Everton as one.
I can't believe how much we slagged off United tonight.
Saints v
Every
Newcastle.
moment.
I think could be one. Then I've got Liverpool, but then other than that, I think it's not clear, honestly, this weekend. I don't think there's going to be many clean sheets.
Okay. Yeah, I've got Bournemouth written down actually. I fancy a Bournemouth clean sheet at home to Fulham. I think they'll make it back-to-back clean sheets. I actually don't think. I was having a look earlier. I don't think there's any team that are going to get a double clean sheet in this game week of all the double game week teams.
I think it's possible for Watford. I think that's the only one that I think is possible for.
Yeah, I think they're the most likely. But
yeah, probably won't happen though.
Probably won't happen. Yeah, I could just see a slip up somewhere. But yeah, I can't see any sort of nailed on definite double game week cleanies. All right. So who did you say? Sorry.
Everton, Saints versus Newcastle, and then Liverpool.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with one. I'm gonna say Bournemouth this week. Should we do transfers next? Your plans, please. If you know them.
So it's Dunk / Duffy to Trent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't think I'll take the hit for Romeo to Højbjerg. I'm trying to look at a way to get like maybe Romeo to Hughes from Watford.
Okay.
He's 4.9 and he's played 90 minutes in the last 3 and he's had 1 assist or something in that.
I've looked at
maybe
Hughes
one
and
goal.
I don't like him, but I'm worried to say things after I put you off Moura and Morrison. So maybe go for
Why
Hughes.
don't you like him then? Tell me.
I just don't think he averages many shots per game, and I'd want to get some goals in a double game week. I think that's what put me off when I looked at him. It was like less than half. He's averaged like 0.4 shot per game, basically.
He's probably got more shots per game than Romeo.
Yeah, he probably has. Yeah.
So yeah.
How much? So you can afford him. He's like in the bracket you can afford.
I think I'm like 0.2 off. So yeah, I probably can't, to be honest. I don't think there's any other. I don't think I want to not have Trent. I think I definitely want to get Trent in. Yeah. But the kind of Gomez being back, Lovren fit, that does worry me slightly because obviously Trent came off yesterday in the Champions League at 70 odd minutes and then they conceded. So that's good. If that happens again and he concede after he gets taken off, then fab. But I just don't want that 59 minutes sub for Trent and losing that clean sheet points. That would be terrible.
Trent's playing like a winger this season, isn't he? He's like a cheap winger playing fullback with all these assists he's getting, all these
another assist last night.
Yeah, and all these corners he's putting in, he's taking them like a quality dead ball specialist, really, isn't he? And we know he's got the capacity to do that.
Better value per million than Salah and Mane.
Yes, yeah. I'm pleased to have had him. I got quite a lot of points actually out of him, to be honest.
I've not owned him all this season, so this will be my first time owning him.
He's good fun to own. He's good fun to watch as well because he gets forward like Robbo.
I mean, it's taking out a double player, but it's Brighton who are gonna concede both, aren't they? So I think I'll just do Dunk to Trent because that was my planned move anyway. I should have just done Trent in the first place on the wild card.
Yeah.
But keep Duffy for his possible goal threat, and then just deal with Romeo and hope Deulofeu plays. Yeah. It could be a terrible bench boost, but we'll see. There's not a better option or better time for me to use it. 2 games are better than 1. So.
Exactly. Yeah, mine is fairly similar. So I'm going to keep Ryan for his potential to save points. So I had 2 Brighton players, Ryan and Dunk. Dunk is going to go, and Cathcart's going to come in from Watford. So that's a definite, which I'd been thinking about doing regardless.
Yep, fair.
Because Dunk's fixtures were really poop. So now I just got to do something with Deeney, and I've got the money to do. I think I've got the money to do up to like a 7.2 for a striker. I don't think I can quite afford Rashford. Not that I'd want him, but it gives me a pretty fair scope. So I haven't actually 100% decided yet. Rondon, even Perez, Wilson, and although you've put me off a little bit, Shane Long and doing a bit of a cheapy thing. He had been in my thoughts, but yeah, we'll see. It's probably likely between. Yeah.
If I was you, I'd do Wilson just for the
Fulham game, but
the okay fixtures and the chance that Fraser wants to assist to him all the time.
I don't know. It's tricky. It's going to be Wilson or Rondon, I think. But anyway, it sort of works out because I know what I'm going to do game week 36 with some more Liverpool midfield coverage.
Yeah, 100% looking at Mane/Salah, and 100% looking at like Hazard as well. So Vardy looks like one that will definitely be going for me eventually, because his fixtures after West Ham are pretty bad. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And maybe even Aguero out at some point.
Should we rippity wrap it up? Cool. We've just ticked over to 1 hour exactly with
Perfect.
our Cougar Cub Picks.
Oh yes, you forgot for a second. All right. Do I get to go first? I think
Should we just do a little reminder of what it means for people who may be watching us for the first time? Hi guys, welcome.
So we both pick a player from players that we don't own in our squads, and they have to be under 15% ownership. And then we tally up their total points scored per week, and then we add that to our own scores throughout the weeks. And yeah, at the moment, I don't actually have the points. Or wait, no, I do. Okay, at the moment, I'm on 47 points, and Chris is on 45.
What?
Although, I haven't updated that. So I think you got...
I got 6 from
7
average.
more? 6. Okay, so you're on 51, and I'm on 47.
Whoop.
Okay, so there you go. There's the right scores. Right. So if I get to go first this week...
You do.
I'm going to go with the 4.5% selected.
Okay.
Do you know who that is?
Give me a clue. I like clues.
He's got tough fixtures.
Tough fixtures? That means he plays a double. He's got tough fixtures. That means he's probably got but 2 away games. It's probably some fool from Brighton. Who have you... Oh.
It's Kevin De Bruyne.
What?
4.5%.
Are you kidding me?
Ooh.
Oh.
Here we go. Here we go.
100%. Oh, man.
Yep.
That
Shouldn't let me go first.
That sucks. Oh, man. I've had a really bad pick lined up who I thought was going to play 2 games, and now I don't even want to pick him because you got De Bruyne. Oh, man. You got me surprised here. Jeez. I'll tell you what, I was gonna go Andre Gray, but I'm gonna back my man Aaron Ramsey.
All right,
I'm gonna
nice.
back my Ramsey man. He's I can tell you how many he's owned by, less than 2%, so he's a mega differential. So yeah, cool.
Not bad. Okay. I had a few other selectors. Was Will Hughes possible? Moutinho 5.6%. I think in their midfield.
Yeah, he's not bad. He's been getting quite a lot of assists.
Yeah. I think if you're not going Jota, because obviously Jota and Jiminez are owned by us, so Moutinho is possible, and then Redmond obviously again. I think he's got a chance to do well.
Is it too late to change my mind?
Then I've got Siggy at 7.3, or
Siggy.
Lacazette is under 15.
I quite like Mora as well. Mora and Llorente I could have gone for.
So who did you just go for? I've completely forgotten already.
Ramsey.
Yeah, you can change your mind if you want.
Nah, I'm going to keep Ramsey. I'm going to keep Ramsey. I sort of feel like I owe it to him because I picked him up earlier.
He'll probably get 2 goals and KDB are blank now. So
I'm only 4 points ahead. We need to think of something what this means for next season. We'll have a think about that. Cool. All right.
Means you have to have, I don't know, a player from a promoted team as captain first week.
that idea sucks. No. Oh man, I've already started thinking about next season, but perhaps we'll talk about that at the end of the show. No, end of the show, end of the season.
Definitely.
Bench boost game week 1, 2019 season.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. All right, blimey, we need to spend nearly as long talking about Cougar Cubs as we did any other thing.
It's important.
It's important. It's important. Cool. Right. Thanks to everyone for joining us, sticking with us to the end. Hopefully you got the cool chit chat, and you enjoyed it, and you're going to make some good decisions with your fantasy. We're going to give an update on FPL Cougars mini league next week. We didn't do it tonight, but there's you guys, you keep surprising us. You keep knocking us down those rankings, so keep doing your thing. All right, cool. We'll be back next week. We're going to wrap up game week 35. If in the meantime you've got any questions about your team, hit us up on YouTube or Twitter. It's at FPL Cougars. We're available Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. Cool. So it's goodbye and good luck from me. Until next time.
Cheers. Good luck.
Bye.